Redacted is evil. Clayton Morris is evil. Natali Morris is evil. What the first thing is Redacted doing alongside with Clayton Morris and his wife while Ukraine is being bombed by Russia 24 for 24 hours for 7 days. Right. They are calling for destruction of Ukraine, of its army, and of Ukraine as a whole country. If you think that it's the only video, spoilers, it's their latest video about Ukraine, you're very wrong. Here, these two animals, I do refuse to recognize those two as humans because they are not humans. They are monsters who hate my homeland and wish my homeland to disappear. Are calling for the destruction of entire Ukrainian kind. They're calling for destruction of the entire male population of Ukraine, and maybe for destruction of the entire female population of Ukraine as well. And here they're calling for for murder of Zelensky. You may not like Zelensky, but Zelensky is a current leader of Ukraine, and murdering leaders of countries is a terrorism. In other words, those two animals or monsters or pests. Choose whatever you like to describe those two creatures. Are calling for a terrorism against Ukraine by murdering the top officials of it, just because they make decisions. I mean our leaders, in order to protect Ukraine, that their Ukrainian top officials constitutional obligations to protect their own country as leaders. They are forming the defense policy of Ukraine. Instead, those two animals are calling for the murder of Zelensky because he is protecting his own country. He is ruling, or he is being chosen to rule against Ukraine invasion. Here, those two animals are trying to prove that we Ukrainians are being needed to nobody. By this video, they are trying to demoralize Ukrainian people who may watch it or who might have watched it by randomly finding it on YouTube. And those two animals are calling for the sorting of our soldiers instead of encouraging Ukraine to about support, about that Ukrainians' lives matter, but for them Ukrainians' lives are not matter. For them Ukrainians are low life beings whom they believe they can threat with death, whom they can just wish to die, wish to disappear as a separate country, as a separate nation, as a separate ethnicity. Not to mention that they are quoting Scott Ritter. Not only Scott Ritter is being charged for pedophilia in the past, around 10 years ago, a bit earlier, but still not while ago. Scott Ritter on his Twitter page did compare Ukrainian people to rabbit-infected dogs. If you don't believe, here's a Scott Ritter's X, formerly Twitter's page, where he does say that we, Ukrainian people, are rabid dogs to being shot. And this animal being known as Morris, I don't remember his name. And I'm not sorry because he's a pest who should be jailed for these threats against Ukrainian people. This ugly man, no, he is not even a human. He is a fucking monster. He is quoting a Scott Ritter, this charged pedophile who did compare Ukrainian people to rabbit-infected dogs to be shot. And you believe that? Do you really believe that this man is deserves to be considered being a human being after quoting this guy who did who did call to murder Ukrainian people? Here's another video with Scott Ritter being quoted. I remind you, Scott Ritter is a church pedophile who is comparing Ukrainian people to rabbit-infected dogs to be shot. Not to mention their covers where they portray Putin, a leader of Russia, being directly responsible for the war in Ukraine, for deaths of Ukrainian people, for destruction of Ukrainian cities, towns and villages. Oh, and behind him is a map of Ukraine, and Crimea being hidden behind these ugly monsters. No, he is not just he's a pest. Behind this ugly pest's shoulder being nuked. I don't think it's just a metaphoric image. I think that Clayton Morris does really want Ukraine to be nuked, considering his views about Ukraine, his views about Ukrainian people, his views about fate of Ukraine, and another video with a cover of Ukraine being nuked. Here you see a bomb which is resembling a nuclear bomb being dropped on Ukraine and being very near the Ukrainian map. And here they are calling our own regions as new Russian ones, meaning they want Ukraine to disappear, to cease in exist by its own lands being grabbed away. And here this animal is also interviewing another animal and another pest and another monster, Douglas McGregor, again calling for destruction of Ukraine, about medicine of Ukraine being as he wants to be destroyed. It's not okay, I believe. Here's the worst. Those animals who are calling for destruction of Ukraine, for death of Ukrainians, who calls for seizing Ukraine from existence, are complaining that we Ukrainians, as well as Syria, are censoring for them, for their streets, for genocidal propaganda, for mongering, for hate towards Ukraine, for national denialism. They are calling to stop censoring them from wishing Ukrainian death. Those fucking animals, for those fucking pests. They do fucking believe that wishing Ukrainian people death and wishing Ukraine to disappear is fine because it's just a freedom of speech. It's just their freedom to just calling for destruction of the entire Ukraine, for the entire Ukrainian nation. And they are believing that they should be petted, they should have their heads being petted for hate they accumulate towards Ukraine. Dear Redacted, dear Mr. and Morris, dear Mr. and Mrs. Morris, I don't know if they are married or if they are father or daughter, it does not matter for real. Shut your fuck up. Nobody needs your genocidal anti-Ukrainian propaganda. Close your fucking channel or either stop wish us Ukrainians to die.